This question's from Lexi. Hi, Lexi. So she says, since you just came from the conference, and when she says the conference, just in case anyone doesn't follow me closely on social media and is listening right now, I went to the Hay House Writers Workshop in Las Vegas over this past weekend. So it was a 2 full day workshop and was magical. So Lexi wants to know, because this workshop was all about writing and publishing books and being an author or an aspiring author. She says, any tips for aspiring authors? I love dumping my thoughts on paper, but I dislike going back to refine and edit them. So you're not the only one, first of all. And yes, this whole experience was magical. So let me just share with you a couple of things that I feel like could benefit you in your writing and as an aspiring author. So first of all, find a writing practice that works well for you. And Matt Kahn got on stage. If you guys haven't heard of Matt Kahn, go look him up. He is amazing. He's got several books and is just really intuitively connected. So he channels energy so well, so well. And I really, really liked the structural advice he gave us as far as how he sets up his time to actually do the writing. So he says that he pours a lot of coffee. I don't personally drink coffee, but whatever your drink is, maybe grab that. And he'll write for 2 to 3 hours in the morning. And think about this. This is like his career, okay? So not everyone has 2 or 3 hours in the morning to write, but he's writing a book, like he has a book advance. This is his career. So we have to remember that too. But he sits down in the morning. We'll just say it doesn't have to be 2 or 3 hours, and he writes. Then he comes back in the afternoon of his workday, and he refines and edits, okay? That doesn't work for everybody. You might not have 3 hours every day or 5 hours every day to write, right? So find a practice that does work well for you. And I find that I don't know about you guys, so all you empaths out here, this is kind of unrelated, but do you ever notice that I like to work on the weekends because I feel the energy of the world around me, even if I can't see the people or I'm not out and about in the world. I feel like the energy surrounding me on the weekends is so much calmer. And so I love writing on Sundays. Sundays are my day to write. And the world just feels quieter. There's not all these stressed out, freaking busy, blah people, right? That might not like their jobs. I feel this kind of consciousness of the world often in my life. And so it really helps me to write on the weekends when the world is not so noisy and I can just zone in. And maybe they're just out and having fun. So there's more of this higher vibration of the planet as well on Saturday and Sunday. So I like to write on Sundays. I am able to tap in a little bit easier. If you guys have been in my group programs, I love calls on Sundays for the same reason. I feel like I can tap into my intuition really well on Sundays. Not that I can't on other days, but it just feels more effortless. So what is a practice that works best for you in your life? Is it a Sunday? Is it every day? Is it 5 minutes? We also did some writing exercises on Sunday right before the conference ended. And Nancy Levin, another Hay House published author, gave us writing prompts. And these were completely random writing prompts, but everyone could answer them in some way. And she put a timer on and we did 4 of these. So 4 5-minute little sections, but you could just do 1 5-minute writing dump. Like you were saying, you love dumping your thoughts on paper. So take that writing prompt, just dump it out. And then within that, maybe you'll find something that you can pull out and expand upon, and you can write about it in a more refined way after you've done the word vomit onto the page, okay? So I also, based on the authors that were speaking, now realize that some of my habits are editing as I write, and I get really, really in my head, and my perfectionist starts to come out if I do that. So it sounds like, Lexi, you're good at not doing that, but then you don't necessarily like going back to refine it. So you, first of all, don't have to edit as you go. Just write, just purge all of your thoughts onto the page. and then go back and refine. But in your case, if you don't like to refine, that's okay. You can hire someone to refine your thoughts, as messy as they might be. One of the very well-known authors who was speaking shared with us that she has a ghostwriter. If anyone, her closest friends, were to read her books, it's her voice. It's absolutely her voice, because she still writes, but she just kind of gets the chunks out, and somebody else goes and puts it into like a book. Because when she first wrote, she was saying that this isn't a book. Like, this is writing, but this isn't a book. And so then she had somebody else come and refine all of that to be a book. So you can hire somebody to do that. There are many literary type editing companies out there that will help you refine if that's not your thing, because you probably have some freaking amazing magic to share with the world. And just because you don't like to refine your writing doesn't mean that magic should not be shared with the world. So I still want you to share your magic. Some other things that are just tips for aspiring authors is to start building your platform now. Okay, so as I business coach my clients, and also just as seen through evidence in the world, I tell them, and I've seen in the world, it doesn't really matter if you have 50,000 followers or 20,000 followers. You could be making the same amount of money. You could have the same financial success. You could have 1,000 followers and you could be making $1 million a year. You could have 50,000 followers and be making $30,000 a year. Those numbers do not determine everything as far as how successful your business is. However, when you're talking about submitting a book proposal, if you are an aspiring author, you'll probably need to write a book proposal someday. The publishing houses and companies are going to look at your platform. And when I say platform, I mean your presence in the world. You're on this platform, and who's listening to you speak on this platform. That's going to be your Facebook community, your Instagram following, your email newsletter list, which they really value that. So those things are actually really important when you're submitting a book proposal. And I think everyone's idea of like big and small is really different. And depending on the size of the company, again, they're going to see big and small as different. But if I had to give you advice, if this is something you're really serious about, start building your platform so that by the time you submit your book proposal, you can show them, this is my marketing plan and this is how I'm going to sell books. Because they want to see that it's not just on them to sell your book, it's on you to sell your book. So how are you going to do it? And then this was a really good piece of advice that I also heard, which is don't keep, and this was from Reed Tracy, the CEO of Hay House. He offered this advice. He said, don't keep all your best content, material, information for your book. So you don't need to like hide away all these golden nuggets for your book. Start sharing those golden nuggets right now. And that's going to allow you to test it out to a real audience before you put it in your book. And it helps you get feedback. And the book is just going to be one place where people can get all of it together. Like they were saying that a blog, say you have a blog and you have like 100 blog posts. You wrote a book and there's your book, right? As long as it flows together in some way and you've got a compelling story. But it's going to be more likely for some people to just buy your book, even though all the material is free online on your blog. I don't want to sift through 100 blog posts. I just want it in a book. I'm going to pay $20 for the book. Probably not even 20, maybe like $12, right? Books are not super expensive for the book versus sifting through all of that material. So they say, share your best info. See if people like it. Start to interact with your community and don't feel like you have to save all of that or even make all of that new in a book that you do publish. So it seems like there's actually a lot of writers in this group who just write for your personal healing, or you blog, or you share your personal story through whatever platform of writing that might be. So I hope this is helpful for many of you who might also be aspiring authors like myself, and hopefully someday we will all have our books out in the world. So Lexi, those are my main tips I want to share with you. It was amazing. If anyone's thinking about going to one of those someday, they're hosted multiple times a year and in different countries as well. So go, do it. It was worth it. Sending you so much love and happy writing.